So as I said, my name is David Heller, and I'm with MCAT Cafe. And I'm really pleased to meet you, John. This is John Wells. Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you, David. Cheers.
And John, you're with Morgan Motors.
That's right, yeah.
In Great Britain.
Yep.
And just out of curiosity, this is kind of off to the side in a way, but where are you located in England?
Well, the Morgan factory is in the Midlands. We're about 2 hours north of London, in the Cotswolds, so it's typically quite a quiet area, countryside, quintessentially British, if you like. It's about an hour outside of Birmingham.
Oh, Birmingham. Okay.
A lot of industry around there in Birmingham and Worcester and those places, and that's where we get a lot of our components that aren't made in-house from too.
Okay. And I heard this morning you say that you're celebrating your 100th year in business. And
that's right.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Hey, well, thanks very much. Yeah, that was 2009. We celebrated our centenary.
Okay.
So we're now 104 years old.
Wow.
And still in family ownership. So Charles Morgan, who's one of the current directors at the factory, he's the third generation. So it was his father and his grandfather before him. He's got a son too who's my age and is expressing some interest too. So hopefully it will stay within the family for a few more years to come.
Keep on going. And so in celebration of that 100th anniversary, I understand also that you reintroduced the original car, which is that three-wheeler.
It was a three-wheeler. It was a much different vehicle to the original three-wheeler. Technology underneath this car is very modern. It's got a tubular steel space frame, dual wishbone suspension, very modern drivetrain, all the ECUs and technology in there that you expect in a modern car. Aesthetically, it's inspired by the later three-wheelers that are more from the 30s. Okay. Aerodynamically, it's improved a lot. Packaging-wise, there's much more space inside the car than there used to be. But yeah, essentially, the company started with a three-wheeler, and we saw it fitting to relaunch that.
When you were talking this morning, what really struck home with me is that you were able to actually design the car in CAD, in computer-aided design.
Yeah.
This new version of the car.
Yeah.
And then make a model of it, and then do a rendering of the model. And then the rendering of the model was so realistic that you use it for your marketing material.
Yeah.
And then you issued that out. And so this is the car that you're going to get.
Yeah.
And that's what 200 people got right off the bat.
Placed an order straight away. Yeah,
they ordered from the rendering.
I think it helped that news of a new Morgan is quite exciting. People are very excited to see where the brand's going at the moment. We're hotter than we've ever been before in some senses. But yeah, we were able to do that, and people were confident enough of what they were looking at from those renderings to say that's what I want.
Yeah.
Which is really great for us. So, I mean, typically Morgan is a very small company trying to produce a lot of cars and keep up with the very high standards set by the automotive world. So it's a little hand to mouth, and to be honest, we're building concept cars right until the hour before they get on the lorry and go to the shows. So it's really
so when you build a concept
close
car,
net sometimes.
You conceptualize on a piece of paper and then take it into a computer.
The design process is the same now as it is in any automotive manufacturer. Really, it all starts with sketch work. So my first job is to gather the influence materials, define the brief, look at our market, and just work out exactly what line I'm pursuing. I then do a lot of sketch work, as any designer does, to get the ideas out on paper. The problem is, typically in the past, before the last 8-9 years, Morgan never had anybody trained purely in aesthetic design. It was a lot of the cars were engineered, and the looks were in a form of function, a result of function rather than aesthetic styling. Proportion and tension in lines wasn't really considered. So my job was to basically link the sketches that the first designer was doing to the actual production. So I was using CAD tools such as Alias to surface things very quickly, Autodesk products, to surface things very quickly and provide actual physical data that then the shop floor could interpret. So, for example, we would take a 3D Alias model for a first concept car, chop that up on screen, take some two-dimensional plots, print those out full size. The wood shop would then make a giant wooden buck, and then the panels would be hand beaten on top of that. And then you end up with a car that proportionally is exactly as it was intended. And you've proven that by rendering it in Showcase or Studio Max on the Alias data. You know exactly what the highlights are doing, the lowlights. And to be honest, also when you look at a car, it's not the lines that are showing you the shape and the beauty of the car, it's the highlights. So the light on top of a panel and the shadow on the bottom of the panel, that breaks up the visual mass of the surface. And that's something you can't always get across in pencil. So to be able to show somebody that with a rendered 3D model, that's when you're selling the design.
And when you're rendering, it takes a lot of computer power, and I understand you selected Hewlett-Packard as the computer of choice.
And that's why we started looking towards Hewlett-Packard, to be able to process these things. And I mean, you can spin around models with colours on them,
Yep.
but it's when you want to start looking at what the reflections are doing in different environments, what the car's going to look like outside accurately, what the reflection of the wheels is going to be like in the body, and how the light moves across the surface. That sort of stuff is how you design, and we can compute that now in real time.
And you can, before you even go to the production floor, you know what it's going to look like when it comes out the other
It
end.
gives us that confidence, and people aren't spending millions doing prototypes because we're very confident by the time we get off the screen. But it's not just a case of saving time and giving the manufacturer data. Before, what would have taken us 2 hours to process, we can now use that same 2 hours but do 20 different iterations. So it's not just a case of getting the job done quicker. It's actually given us more time to make sure we've got the optimum result. So instead of doing one example, we're doing 10 and picking the best one. Right. So the design is better as a result.
You know, your company, the company, Morgan Motors. It sounds, it's a family owned and run company, but it's a small company, and I from just listening to you before and listening to you now, it has like a feeling of a family itself.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Because I remember when you were talking today, at the conference. You'd said that you take an HP portable computer with, design work on it, or what your concept is, and walk out on the floor to the work person out there, the workman out on the floor.
What we're doing. But we also do that with our customers. We'll take a laptop to them and sit down and look at colour specifications and what their car's going to look like before it's built. And it's all about just relaying that data and information to the people that are building the car.
Yeah, but it's like a one-on-one. It's like a family thing.
Oh,
it's really,
completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the nice thing, that in our office it's very close confines and there's specialists from every different part of automotive design. So you're bouncing off each other, you're learning what they do, and everything you learn is inspiring your work, and it's a very fluid place. You're not all designers in one room and all engineers in another. It's all interwoven. And the same on the shop floor. I'll do something and I'll take it onto the shop floor and they'll go, not a chance, you can't do that. And so I'm learning exactly what can be done. I mean, they laugh at you sometimes, that happens. You can't know everything.
You have to face reality.
Yeah, you have to face reality. Yeah, I mean, there's always the engineer-designer conflict, which is the same in any company. But yeah, that's really nice, and it's really friendly. I mean, there's nobody in the factory I don't know the name of. I still get wolf whistled when I walk through the wood shop because I'm wearing skinny jeans. It's very kind of, there's a lot of banter, we'd call it in Britain.
It sounds like a great place to work.
Yeah, it's cool. It's good fun.
So
really good.
on the HP stuff, on the HP computers and the portable computers and things, are you planning on possibly doing any simulation work in the future?
We do. That's one of the big things that's come into play alongside the actual design process improving that I talked about today. We're doing a lot of simulation, a lot of sort of FAA, a lot of fluid dynamics stuff. We're really, we're getting into that more and more. And to be honest, it's so expensive to put a car in a physical wind tunnel. So if we can get the design proven a lot earlier on, make sure it's going to work, we're saving a lot of money when we do eventually do the physical testing. So that's really important for us. And that's when, again, the processing power comes into play.
Right. And have you found the HP workstations and the portable computers reliable for you?
I mean, somebody's asked me today why HP, why work with HP. And to be honest, our attitude towards procurement and working with certain suppliers is very much about what the supplier is willing to give in return as well. It's not just a case of an open and closed contract or an open and closed sale. Every one of our suppliers, whether they be developing a component for the car or providing us technology, we invite them to work with us. And HP were very flexible. They created suites that suited us and technology that suited us, and they're actually very interested in improving our workflow rather than just selling us gear. And it's being able to work with people like that that's important. I mean, our suppliers, when they're making an aluminium panel or something, for example, they're involved with the development, and they can say, well, we helped develop that car, and it's actually, we invite them to share our development, not just sort of take it from them.
So it's kind of a relationship.
So it's a real relationship, and it's more collaboration, actually, to be honest with you. That's the word, collaborative. And HP could do that with us. Their customer support was great, their flexibility is great, the machines look good, they're reliable. It just ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, by the way, my favorite car, the Morgan car, is the 50s version.
The classic.
And you're still making like a replica of that in a way, or a reproduction of that. And they're probably doing well. Now, you said before, just before we wrap it up, that it's 100 and some odd people in the company, 180 people.
180 people, yeah.
And I think you said, but with just that few people, you're still handcrafting and delivering 1,300 cars a year. Have you now that you've gone to CAD and everything, have you noticed that you get more productivity
Well,
out of the whole
that's
thing?
the other area where it's made a big difference.
Yeah.
Even cars like the Classic that look aesthetically the same have had a lot of reverse engineering done. So instead of coming from templates and jigs and panels that have been lying around for 50 years,
Yeah.
they're now coming from CAD data, and the tolerances are better. They're designed to be assembled much more efficiently,
Yeah.
and that's increased our workflow massively.
Yeah, I'm going to keep. I want to stay on top of what you're doing because I'm really excited about your cars and about the design of your cars.
It's exciting times at the
yeah,
minute.
and so is your what's your website?
Well,
Just,
it's right on there. Take a card. That's probably the
okay,
easiest
just
way.
tell
But
them.
it's www.morgan-motor.co.uk.
Okay, okay. Hey, listen, John, it's been a real pleasure.
Real pleasure talking to
And
you.
maybe
Thank you
when
very
I'm in the
much.
UK, I'll get a chance to come out there.
Please do. Please do.
Okay, thank you.